right. Welcome in, everyone, to the Deep Dive. So today we're going to be diving into something kind of new here.
Yeah.
Something called NeSpace AI Customer Center
Ooh.
with Brain.
Okay.
We've got a whole collection of information and articles and press releases and stuff to go through.
It's a lot.
To
Yeah.
basically try to cut through the noise and figure out what this launch actually means.
Right.
You know, for you as a potential customer of this, but also for businesses in general.
Yeah. I mean, I think the key here is to really take this kind of guided tour through what NeSpace offers and why it might matter.
Yeah.
And then also, the bigger picture implications.
Yeah.
We want to go beyond just the feature list.
Yeah, exactly. So, to start off, what is NeSpace at its core? Let's just unpack this a little bit.
Yeah.
So from what we've gathered, it's an automated customer service platform, right?
Right.
That's powered by AI.
Yeah.
But it's designed to kind of go a bit further than your standard chatbot,
Yeah.
It's meant to independently manage and even enhance a company's customer communications.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating to me is the way it kind of brings together a company's specific information, their internal knowledge base. Think of it like all their FAQs, all their procedures,
Right.
all their product details, and then combines that with some pretty sophisticated language processing.
Yeah.
It's not just about canned responses, right?
Yeah.
It's about the AI actually being able to understand the context and nuances of a customer inquiry.
That's right. Yeah, so it's essentially acting like a central AI hub, right?
Well, yeah.
That can analyze what a customer is asking.
Yeah.
Pull the relevant information from that knowledge base.
Uh-huh.
And then actually have what sounds like a pretty natural conversation.
Yeah.
In over 100 languages.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and it's built to adapt to the unique requirements of different businesses.
Yeah, it's pretty ambitious. This is pretty ambitious stuff. So NeLabs has officially launched this, right?
Yeah.
NeSpace AI Customer Center with Brain.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your initial take on kind of the significance of this launch?
Well, I mean, in today's world, everyone wants everything right away.
Yeah.
And they want that personalized attention.
Right.
So the launch of something like NeSpace could really be a significant evolution in the world of customer service. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's addressing that, core challenge a lot of businesses face, right?
Yeah.
Which is, how do we provide really efficient customer service that's high quality?
Yeah.
And that's, 24/7, 365.
That's right. And I think
without breaking the bank.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's get into the details of this, right? What are the key capabilities?
Yeah.
What does NeSpace actually bring to the table? And let's start with something that's I think kind of like a fundamental expectation, right? For customers today, which is 24/7 support.
Right.
No matter what time it is, I need help now.
Yeah, and that's a big one, right? It's it's really a game changer for convenience, because it means a customer can get their questions answered or their issues addressed no matter what time of day it is.
Right.
They don't have to wait for business hours.
Right.
They don't have to, deal with different time zones, all that stuff.
Yeah. It's about having that immediate availability.
Yeah.
Whenever the customer needs help.
Right.
And that kind of leads us to the next feature, right?
Right.
Which is this automated communication where you don't always need a human agent.
Right. Well, and that's where you see the real efficiency gains, right? Because you're able to automate responses to those routine inquiries, those things that come up over and over again.
Right. The stuff that you don't need a human for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the businesses can free up their human agents to focus on the more complex issues, the more nuanced issues, the stuff that really needs a human touch.
Right. And it also minimizes the potential for human error.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Sometimes humans make mistakes.
Yeah.
AI, not so much.
Not so much, no.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where it starts to get really interesting to me.
Yeah.
There's this feature that they're calling customer conversation record and analysis, which to me sounds like a lot more than just keeping a log of chats.
Yeah. I mean, it's really going a step further, right?
Yeah.
They're recording every interaction and then like running it through these advanced analytics.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not just seeing what customers are asking,
right?
But it's also about identifying like those unspoken needs, right?
Yeah.
Or recurring frustrations.
Right.
That might even like indicate a flaw in the product itself.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
If the AI is constantly dealing with complaints about a certain feature, that's a pretty clear sign that maybe something needs to be looked at on the product development side.
Right. So it's not just about resolving the issue in the moment.
Right.
It's also about like, providing that valuable feedback to actually improve the whole business.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a powerful feedback loop.
It is.
Yeah. Another feature that really caught my eye here is this lead generation and management system. So how does like an AI-powered customer service platform, like how does that even integrate with bringing in new business?
Well, you got to think about the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
I mean, customer interactions, even if they start as like just support questions,
right,
they can often, turn into potential sales opportunities.
Right.
Maybe someone's asking about, a specific feature or upgrading something, and NeSpace can be designed to recognize those moments.
Yeah.
And seamlessly plug into a company's existing, CRM systems.
Right. So CRM, just for folks who aren't familiar, that's customer relationship management.
Exactly.
That's basically, how a company manages its interaction with current and future customers.
Right.
Right. So by integrating with CRM, NeSpace can help, capture those leads and then, nurture them and potentially turn what started as like a support question into a sale.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. That's a really smart way to leverage those customer interactions.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so let's talk about how natural these AI interactions are, right?
Okay.
They're really leaning into this human-like communication, which I got to say is a pretty high bar to clear.
It is a high bar.
Like how do they even? What are the specific aspects that allow them to even like aim for this?
Well, I mean, you're right. It is a high bar, but the progress that's been made in natural language processing has been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
The goal here is to make, talking with this AI feel less like you're talking to a robot or a machine and more like you're having a conversation with, a real person who actually knows what they're talking about.
Right. That makes sense.
And to do that, the AI has to not only understand the words, right, but also the intent behind the words.
Right, like what are you actually trying to say here?
Yeah, exactly, and the sentiment behind the words as well.
Sentiment, yeah.
Are you happy? Are you angry? Are you frustrated?
Right.
And the fact that it can do all of this in over 100 languages, I mean, that's a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
Being able to achieve that human-like feel across all those different languages.
And that, of course, leads us to the multilingual support, like over 100 languages. It's
pretty incredible.
It's incredible, yeah. And like it really does just break down like all those language barriers for companies that are operating globally.
Yeah, absolutely. And it allows businesses to connect with a much larger audience, right? Without having to go through the hassle and the expense of having, huge multilingual support teams made of humans.
Right.
So, it's not only expanding their potential market, but it's also just making things, so much easier and better for international customers.
Yeah. It's a huge benefit.
Huge,
to both sides of the equation there.
Right.
Okay, so moving on to just like speed, right?
Yep.
Instant solutions.
Yeah.
That's another thing that they're highlighting here.
Yeah.
I think, nowadays people they expect things
right
away.
Instantly,
yeah. So how does NeSpace aim to deliver on that?
Well, the AI is built to very quickly, figure out what the customer's issue is.
Right.
And then provide a really fast, really relevant response.
Right.
And it does that by drawing on, that comprehensive knowledge base.
Right, the digital library we were talking about.
Exactly. And using, that really advanced language processing.
Right.
So the goal is to basically solve those common queries like almost immediately.
Right.
Which leads to, faster resolution times, happier customers, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
increase satisfaction.
Yeah, yeah. And then, for those situations where you actually do need to, like, schedule something or set up an appointment,
right,
they've got this integrated booking system,
yeah.
which includes calendar integration,
right,
which is really convenient.
It's super convenient, yeah. It streamlines the whole process for customers who need to, book those appointments or schedule those consultations.
Right.
Way more efficient than doing it the old-fashioned way, with humans scheduling everything manually.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so what about those times when a customer has, like, a really complex problem,
right,
and AI just can't, like, figure it out on its own?
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned 24-hour expert support.
Yeah.
So does this mean that there's always, like, a human specialist waiting in the wings?
Well, that's what our sources are indicating.
Okay.
It sounds like there's always going to be that access to a human expert. So the first interaction might be with the AI,
right,
but then there's a system in place to escalate, to seamlessly hand things over to a real human.
Gotcha. So it's basically like leveraging the AI for all the stuff that it can handle,
right,
but then having that human backup.
Exactly.
Yeah, when it's really needed.
It's all about that balance, right?
Yeah.
The automation for efficiency, but then the human touch for those tricky situations.
Exactly. And then they also talk about multi-channel connectivity.
Yeah.
And they specifically list, like, WhatsApp, email, and even, like, optional voice support.
Right.
So this is all about meeting customers wherever they are.
It is, yeah. It's all about, providing that flexibility and giving customers the choice to interact in whatever way it works best for them.
Yeah.
Whether that's text or, in some cases even voice.
Yeah. And that optional voice support is a big one.
It is, yeah.
Because some people
prefer to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there's this thing that they mentioned called community building.
Yeah.
Which I found kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So how does an AI support platform, like, how does that even contribute to community building?
Well, I think they would need to go into more detail about this, but one possibility is that the AI could identify, common interests or common topics that customers are talking about, and then maybe facilitate some kind of online forum or knowledge sharing platform.
Yeah.
It could also potentially, moderate those discussions automatically based on, the company's guidelines to make sure that everything stays, friendly and constructive.
Yeah.
So the idea is to really foster that sense of community, which, could lead to increased loyalty, more engagement, and even, customers helping each other out.
Yeah. That's a really fascinating angle.
It is.
That I honestly hadn't really considered before.
Yeah, it's kind of a new way of thinking about things.
It is, yeah. Okay, so then they mentioned this automated callback system.
Right.
And they mentioned it for various purposes, including, like, cold calling, which just sounds like it could be a huge efficiency boost.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, automating those callbacks, even those initial, like, cold outreach calls, it can save, companies a ton of time and resources because the AI can handle those first stages, filtering out the leads, qualifying them, providing that basic information. And then once, things are a little bit further along, then you can bring in the human agents.
Right.
To provide that more personalized touch.
That makes sense, yeah. And then for those times when you really do need that direct real-time interaction, they offer live customer interaction and solutions.
Right.
So it's not that the AI is meant to completely replace human agents.
No, not at all.
It's more like it's meant to augment and enhance what the humans can do.
Exactly. I mean, for those really, complicated or sensitive or high value interactions, you still want that human touch. You still want that context-aware support.
Right, exactly. And then lastly, they talk about this AI voice calling system.
Yeah.
Which sounds like taking, all that AI automation power and putting it directly into, like, phone conversations.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is an add-on, right?
Yeah.
So it's not part of the the core system.
Okay.
But it basically allows businesses to automate, a lot of those phone interactions.
Right.
Answering calls, responding to basic questions, offering callbacks.
Even doing those outbound cold calls.
Right. Right. And they list some pretty compelling benefits.
Yeah, they do.
Like immediate responses for people who